Hi, Vanessa here. Today's video is going to be about a software platform that is designed to assist people with their legal needs, it looks like, in the state of Washington. And I'm really excited about this because I think these types of sites are definitely in their infancy right now, and it gives me a lot of hope for the future for all ordinary Americans to have access, hopefully equal access one day, to the American judicial system for whatever their needs are. Now, as you may already know, especially if you've ever been through a divorce or needed to get a domestic violence protection order, family law is all a part of the American judicial system. And I think that's pretty unfortunate because it drives a lot of conflict where maybe there wouldn't be as much conflict if things were resolved differently. I'm aware that there's mediation and things of that nature. However, our judicial system is very conflict oriented, in my opinion, from what I've observed of it. And that definitely goes hand in hand with family law. And families that are trying to get divorces, couples are trying to get divorces, trying to figure out child support, child custody issues, and then of course anything in the other realm of having to do with safety, violence, protection orders, and so on and so forth, which can and oftentimes does become a part of family court, just depending upon the circumstances, which are really complex for many people sometimes, and maybe not as complex for other people if they're amicable and there's no domestic violence issues and so on and so forth. So the name of the site, which I stumbled upon completely by accident, is called Legal Atoms. And the people that design it seem to be pretty impressive with their resumes that they put online on their website. And they advertise case types, meaning like what kind of situation a person has, as divorce, anti-harassment protection order, sexual assault protection order, vulnerable adult protection order, domestic violence, extreme risk protection order, and stalking protection order. And so that's a lot of different types of orders and protection things and stuff like that. But what I'm going to really focus on today for this video is going to be divorce. And there are so many different state laws about this and whatnot. Now, I contacted the company through their chat, and basically the person I talked to indicated that they were essentially the technical support person, and so that they couldn't answer some of my other questions. I'm still waiting to hear back about some of the questions I had about different situations. The process, it says on their website, is free option basically where you can DIY it yourself. You can consult with a lawyer. They're advertising that as free as well, saying you can prepare the application, that's free, and then you can hire a lawyer, and the price that's listed is between $250 and $1,000. Now it says, it's optional. It's a flat rate lawyer package. I'm really confused about exactly what that covers though. And I definitely have wanted for a long time for more legal options for people to DIY it in the privacy of their own home or whatever location they choose, and to be able to access the, what they need without having to jump to a lawyer, because not everybody can afford a lawyer. Lawyer prices I've heard quoted have been anywhere from $150 to more than $1,000 an hour, depending upon who the lawyer is and where they practice and what type of law we're talking about and everything else. And I don't really know of very many people that make that kind of money, period, that could possibly afford to pay that as an hourly rate to anyone for an ongoing period of time. And when I say ongoing, I mean like, months or years, because the hours can be racked up pretty quickly, is my understanding with lawyers, and, if you're dealing with a high conflict divorce, person is, then I imagine the hours would get racked up extremely quickly. And I can imagine the bill would be quite large. So I think that more options like this are very exciting. There's DIY tax software, and I have wanted and hoped for a long time that something would come out where everyone has access to it. And it's not just for, the American judicial system for the wealthy or for big business or for governmental interests, but instead of for all Americans, no matter what their income is, so that they can actually afford what they're trying to accomplish and not be held back because of, unfortunate circumstances. Now, the application process, I actually walked through it. I did not complete it because I don't need anything to file, but it asked a series of questions in no particular order. One of them was, do you need a restraining order? And that was for the divorce part, because I tried to look through how this would be to file for a divorce. Do you need a restraining order in case your spouse has hurt you or threatened to physically, sexually, as an example? You can get a restraining order by the court. And yes, no is the option for that. Have you discussed with your spouse that you are filing for divorce? It goes on to say it's not required to inform or discuss with your spouse. However, this bit of info helps us add or remove relevant questions such as whether you have discussed how to split assets. And it says options, yes, no, I'm not sure. I'd also like to add, I saw in the state of North Carolina, a lawyer had set up a website that kind of reminded me of this. It was just for the state of North Carolina. And it was also very affordable. And the law firm was very progressive, forward-thinking, futuristic kind of. There was even free legal advice given through like a chat room that people could anonymously receive. They specialized in family law. North Carolina family law, specifically for divorces, is so complicated. It's unreal. Like, to me, in my opinion, it's so complicated. They have rules in North Carolina that I don't know what other state has rules like that. And so, yeah. All right, another question for the legal Adams here. Do you need temporary order for spousal support? This is the same as alimony. You can apply if you are financially dependent on your spouse. Yes, no. And it starts off with this divorce application e-filing, and it asks for your residence zip code. And it states this website prepares your divorce application for Washington State and gives you the option to talk to an independent licensed lawyer for free. You can then optionally purchase a lawyer package at a flat and discounted price made possible using our time-saving software. Then it has, we have children under 18. We agree on how to split what we own. Check, whether or not you do or not. Another question is, do you have children with your spouse? Answer yes if you have children under 18 or they are older than 18 but still dependent because they are disabled or attending universities and need financial support. Yes, no. So that's another question in the software. They asked another question, no particular order, because these are all out of order because I'm jumping around here from screenshots I took. Do any of the following conditions apply to you? And they asked different questions, and there's some interesting questions in there, that's for sure. The one that is of interest has to do with military community, because it's something I'm very invested in and a part of. Washington State has a massive military community due to, it used to be called Fort Lewis. I think it's called like Joint Base Lewis McChord. Who knows? I don't even know what it's called anymore. But they have a big military base out there. And so that's another thing. It's like service members, most of them are enlisted. It's, a lot of enlisted people, a lot of junior enlisted. And so there's a lot of barracks marriages, as they've been called in the past, meaning basically people get married very quickly in the barracks, and then they leave the barracks so they can have a better, higher quality of life living, and may have regret the decision to get married. And so they don't make a lot of money. And so this is an example of a really affordable potential option for people in those situations. And in that case, they would have a spouse in the military, and they may also be in the military, so that would apply to them. So very interesting. And I'm just really I don't think I can adequately convey my level of excitement about this type of software. I just wish it would expand into all 50 states, and be very accessible to all people so that they could have access to what they need. And I wish that this type of software would expand even further outside of that, because it's really needed. So here's the rest of what I was reading. No one enters into a marriage expecting it to fail. If you're in this difficult situation, you can take the first constructive step by carefully drafting your divorce agreement. Your divorce terms will affect your children, financials, and ability to rebuild your life. Legal Adams steps you through all topics relevant to divorce. It is designed by a team of attorneys in Washington. The language is simple and non-legal for persons who don't have legal knowledge. Legal Adams focuses only on Washington to keep it 100% updated and accurate at any given time. And that says last updated February 28, 2020. Also interesting is I read news reports, looked at news reports in Washington State of the local news, and it was showing that Legal Adams had assisted I forget exactly how many, but I want to say, I think I saw the numbers like over 900 applications for some type of protection order during COVID-19. People were able to get their protection orders without even having to leave wherever they were at and able to file them online. And I think that's the way it should be all the time, not just during a pandemic, but like access to the American judicial system for just basic everyday Americans' everyday needs to be very accessible. And I think it needs to be an online option, and it needs to be user friendly, and it needs to be something like this, I think. And I think these platforms, because this is not the only one I've seen, I'm thinking about possibly reviewing more in the future. I probably will, just to kind of raise awareness about this topic and the need for more progressive, legal solutions for everyday Americans. So the mission for Legal Atoms, it says, is to increase access to the justice system. Hallelujah and amen to that, okay? Using artificial intelligence. That's super innovative and creative. I actually would love to learn more about like what their thoughts are on the future of artificial intelligence in the justice system. I think that's amazing. I think one of the big issues that any of these software companies are going to have are the state bars in some of the states and the powers that be that do not want to have Legal Atoms or illegal Zoom or you name it software company in their state, because they're so concerned about whether or not like basically the people that have been in positions of power and are making money off a very conflict oriented American judicial system will be able to continue to do so. But ultimately, my feeling is, in my opinion, is that the American judicial system needs to serve the American people, period. And so that people can get real solutions to like their everyday life problems that many people feel disenfranchised and unable to do so. Our key accomplishments are to simplify the areas of divorce and domestic violence for Washington State, both for clients and lawyers. We targeted these areas as they are top sought services, particularly by people who are vulnerable. I totally agree. Legal Atoms is based in Seattle and was launched by Microsoft and Amazon alumni. Like I said, these people have impressive resumes. I can see that already. So that really concludes my review, but I'm just so excited about this option for people, and I hope it helps a lot of people, and I think that it will. And so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're listening to the podcast version, feel free to send in an audio comment as well. If I've been doing a lot of divorce coverage and different topics related to divorce, it seems to be something that people are definitely interested in because it affects a lot of different people. So let me know your thoughts and what other divorce topics you'd like to see or software systems you've become aware of that have to do with divorce. All right, I hope you have a great day.